Today I'm doing something quite dangerous. I'm ranking PetiteKnit patterns from take my money to I will never ever create this. So pray for me and for my comment section because this topic might get really messy. Grab your knitting, grab your favorite drink, in my case is some chai latte, and let's begin with 5 best knitting patterns that you've ever created, in my opinion. The first pattern is Agnete Cardigan. This is still one of my favorite designs and it is still on my knitting list. Even though I'm aware of this pattern for so many years, my love towards this design is still here. It is an all-over brioche cardigan that is knit on 3mm needles. I don't know any other design that is very beautiful like that is a brioche cardigan and it is on 3mm needles. Drop a comment if you know such design because I really want to know. I am a fan of brioche designs and I specifically like when brioche is knitted on very tiny needles. I would knit anything with brioche if it's knitted on 2, 2.5 or 3mm needles. When it's a bit larger, I don't like it, to be honest. For me, the most tasty texture, it is when it looks almost like ribbing, but looks like voluminous ribbing. Do you know what I mean? Something else I like about brioche is that it's quite satisfying to make those yarn overs and then to knit through them. I know a lot of knitters actually hate that, but I find it very calming and satisfying, and you have double stranded in a way texture because brioche is quite a thick fabric and you enjoy the yarn even more if you pick something fuzzy and cozy and warm. I don't know, I love it so much. I love everything about this design. I wouldn't change a thing. Especially I like this double knit bottom band that is quite high in contrast in comparison to the brioche structure. I really love these type of differences. And what I also like about this design, slowly getting into construction, that this bottom band is actually knitted together with the garment itself. So you don't have to start from the bottom and slowly knit your very boring, very long bottom band when knitting a cardigan. The only thing I would like to mention is that I don't know if in this bottom band she's doing short rows, because brioche is way more stretchy and more voluminous in size than in double knitting, and I would usually do the short row on every 5th row when doing any sort of double knit bottom band. So if you knitted the Agnete cardigan, let me know if you have the short rows in the double knit bottom band. I'm really curious. Regarding the construction, it is an English tailoring or European shoulder construction where you just shape the trapezoid shape at the back first, then picking up stitches on the left and at the right, making front panels and then joining in together with the back and to keep on knitting. Very simple but complicated at the same time, enough complicated to challenge even intermediate knitters. And I think if you're a beginner knitter and you want to try brioche, it is quite a safe pattern to go with because it is a PetiteKnit, and as I know, the reviews are quite well on this pattern. The next one on my list is Dagmar Zipper sweater. I love all of the items from the Dagmar series. I do think that is a little bit of the style from Korean or Japanese patterns, if you know that I'm a big fan of these patterns, and I do have an entire playlist on my channel with all of the pattern features that just took over my heart, and if you wish you can just watch it, the link is going to be in the description. So this jacket just reminds me of these Japanese and Korean patterns. They do love to knit a lot of cables, a lot of structure, and they do use similar shapes. Anyways, she created this gorgeous series, and my personal pick is, as I already said, Zipper sweater. I love this design so much because it still looks quite unique to me, even though a lot of PetiteKnits patterns are very similar to each other. They very often feature similar silhouettes, similar shapes, and like very minimalistic vibes. And this one is very interesting. Like, it has a zipper, it's very beautifully made drop shoulder, it is perfect amount of positive ease, and it is this gorgeous stitch pattern motif. I love these diamonds that just cross each other in a very beautiful way. I like this honeycomb stitch in the middle. There is perfect amount of texture. It looks super squishy, super warm and just cozy. I personally see this in pink, not bright pink, but this very dusty melange pink. I cannot stop thinking, like 2 months or 3 months I have this idea in my brain and I'm like, come on, are you going to really knit yourself like a pink sweater that is that time consuming? And my brain is like, yes, I want that pink jacket. Love it so much, for real. I cannot wait to knit this. It's so beautiful. Even though I've seen knitters make it so many times, like on YouTube, on Ravelry, there's so many projects and I get bored quite easily. I know that. I need to keep myself entertained, but I still want it. I still love it. It's actually an Aran weight project with 18 stitch per 10 centimeters in the pattern, and it's knit on 4.5 millimeter needles. I do like the recommended yarn is this Dutch brand or Dutch farm that she's collaborating with. I do want to try it. I've heard it's soft. I even messaged them. I was asking how soft it is because I'm a very sensitive person, and this jacket is quite high, as you can see with this neck. They told me it's soft, but they also clarified that they're people from the village, so it's very complicated to say. I don't know, I'm really afraid of really prickly yarn. Let me know if you have knitted with this yarn, how it feels towards the neck. I really want to know. And if you're a sensitive person. So what else to say? The construction, you just repeat what was in the first one, in the Agnete Cardigan. Start at the back with the trapezoid shaped panel, doing the front panel, doing the back panel, join everything under the arms, knitting down, picking up stitches that were on hold for the sleeves and knitting them down. Looks very complicated sweater. I think if you need it, a lot of people are going to be asking where have you bought the sweater, if you managed to install the zipper in a good way, like in a very neat, beautiful way. The next one I love so much is the Cumulus Blouse, both the V-neck version and the O-neck version. I'm wearing this right now. It is an O-neck version, but the mic is just pulling the weight down, so it looks like a V-neck, but it's actually an O-neck and it's somewhere here when I don't wear the mic. I need this with recommended yarn with 2 strands of mohair. So wearable, so easy to make. So this is basically the project and that is good for both categories. First category is the beginner that wants to, without headache, without short rows, without anything, make yourself a piece that you can wear, that you can gift to someone, and that people would never even think that is actually handmade. It is such a relaxing knit. It has no complications. You can truly appreciate the yarn when you're knitting with this. You can really just, watch whatever you want, take it to cinema, take it to nature. I was really enjoying this project, and even though my brain is quite, likes the entertainment and some involvement in the knit, I was really enjoying the yarn because I'm in love with mohair. So when I was finishing the knit, I was like, it finished? I would like to keep going. Why it finished? Usually I'm quite excited to finish my knits. And the second category is just knitters who are quite experienced already, but sometimes they need some mindlessness. They want to just relax. They want to come from a stressful day from work or just in the end of the day, and they want to just relax, stocking it, no short rows, no counting, nothing, and just enjoy the yarn. It could be Suri alpaca, it could be mohair. If you can't tolerate mohair, I have a whole video on my channel that is recently released. Some of the very gorgeous mohair substitutes for sensitive people, and you can use most of those recommendations in this pattern. Regarding the construction, it is a raglan top down with no complications. You just go back and forth as you form the back of the blouse. Then you eventually increase for the neckline, you connect in the round, and you just enjoy the in the round raglan until the armholes. You split for sleeves and you finish the whole sweater. I honestly don't know another pattern that I would knit so many times again and again yet. I'm editing right now and I realized I forgot to speak about April cardigan. It was like 4th pattern that I just for some reason skipped. So I will have to add it right now. So I think the April cardigan is another masterpiece from PetiteKnit because even though it's very simple, it's very minimal and basic, it really makes sense why so many people made this happen. And people keep on knitting this again and again. I unfortunately have not knit it yet for myself, but it is in my mind and I have so many options for the yarn I want to use. I don't know if I would do any modification to this pattern except the bottom band. So a lot of people modify the bottom band to the double knitting instead of the ribbed one. I think it makes complete sense, but I do think still that the ribbing looks really beautiful as well. The only thing about ribbed bottom band is that I would add elastic to the edge of the bottom band if I were to make the ribbed version to prevent it from stretching and from flaring out. What I think is another masterpiece from PetiteKnit is because of accessibility and availability for beginners to just make a piece that is going to be in the wardrobe for years. It's perfect for knitting for yourself or for someone, and you are going to probably wear it for years and years and years because there's non-explicit features in the design. I also like not such a huge positive ease. I think it's 6 centimeters or 0 recommended to your own desire. That means it has to be either the same as your bust circumference or 6 centimeters bigger. I like this amount of positive ease, and it was released in the era of oversized fashion. Oversized is still probably very popular, but we're slowly coming back to more fitted items, which I like a lot. So this is one of them, and it is quite cropped, so I think it's perfect with high-waisted jeans, shorts, skirts, both for winter and for summer. So regarding the construction, it is knitted top down seamlessly. You do saddle shoulders. Basically, you cast on stitches and you start increasing back and forth, forming these saddle shoulders contiguously, and then you keep on increasing for the sleeves, reaching to the armholes, keep on knitting flat to desired length, doing the sleeves until desired length, and doing the ribbing, either double knit or ribbed ribbing. I will be honest, when I just started knitting, when I just learned how to knit, this cardigan fell into my list. But for some reason, I've knitted so many pieces and haven't gotten to knit this one yet. Anyways, I'm hoping that you're in love with April cardigan just the same as I am. And now we go for the last one in our list of the best patterns. Is the fifth one, Elizabeth Blouse. So I've never knitted this one myself. Why do you think is the best one? Because I think even though we already have so many different alternatives with this type of color, I still think if I were to knit something with this color, I would pick this one. The reason to that is the balance between two features. So we have raglan features, there's lines that go to the armhole, and we have the actual collar. And what I don't like sometimes about collars, and why I sometimes stop from knitting them for myself, is that if you have this type of collar and the shoulder line is here, I feel it's a bit too strict for me. I don't like this type of like t-shirt style, you know, polo style. It's just my personal preference. So I like the balance that it's still quite a relaxed look. You have these raglan lines, the neck is quite deep, the collar is quite small and, you know, neat. I love it. I love this combination. I do like other polos as well, but when I was thinking, should I cast on them right now from other designers, something was constantly stopping me within. But this one does not stop me. I still want to make it. The only thing I would do for this design is I would modify it to have open hem. Like in the bottom, I would just do split hem. So the only thing I don't like is this bunching in the bottom, like in the belly. And one more very important thing I want to change or add to this pattern that is not visibly available is here you have a double knit button band again. And I notice a lot of times from people that made this pattern before and from PetiteKnit samples as well, that is pulling a little bit the fabric upwards. I don't know if she added short rows for the double knitting here. Let me know if you needed this, if there are short rows. If she added, then I would just add more, because when adding short rows, you're kind of making this collar longer and you prevent from the fabric pulling upwards, because the density row-wise is different from the density of the double knitting. And if you just knit back and forth constantly with the same row count, the double knit is going to just pull the fabric upwards, which is not my favorite thing. And I like my knits to be very polished and very neat, especially taking into account the recommended yarn, which is all sorts of cashmeres, Lank cashmere, Pasquale cashmere, Mondial cashmere, Cardiff cashmere. I love Cardiff cashmere. I would for sure go with that recommendation. If I want to be a bit more luxurious and want some different sort of cashmere, I would go with Pasquale cashmere 628. That cashmere has just more halo to the thread, and when you knit up the fabric, you will feel like more fuzz on the fabric. Anyways, no matter which cashmere you're going to go for, I think it deserves short rows on the double knitting. I think it does deserve the effort. So what else I would say about this blouse? Actually, I'm looking right now at it and I really don't know what color would I pick for this design. I don't like it in a dark blue. I don't see it in any colorful color. I don't know, maybe something very neutral like dark gray, dark beige. Anyways, let me know what color would you pick for your Elizabeth blouse if you haven't made it yet. Really beautiful pattern, and I honestly can't wait to make it because it is a gorgeous polo design. Well, right now we are going to go to a different section that is way more controversial, you could say, but what can I do? I want to mention the patterns that I don't like that PetiteKnit has ever created. So the first one in the list is a zipper jacket, and don't mix it with zipper sweater because I do like zipper sweater. This is a zipper jacket. It's this huge zip that is going really down the cardigan. It's huge v-neck. I don't get the idea of it. It's super weird. Like, it's knit on 5mm needles. It is very thick yarn. I think it's iron weight, right? Yes, iron weight yarn. It is very deep v-neck, very, very long drop shoulder. The cardigan is going to be pulled apart constantly. And it is huge. Okay, it is very thick to be warm, but how is going to keep you warm if all of the air is going to constantly go inside? So it's heavy, it is big. What purpose does it serve? And in addition to that, the front is constantly pulled by the shoulders, which is actually an issue of every drop shoulder construction with this trapezoid shape on the back. That's another conversation, but still, here's super visible. If it would be way smaller, way less drop shoulder, way closer to the body and higher the V-neck with a zipper, it could look really beautiful. I was thinking about PetiteKnits, how is it called? Solane cardigan, which looks really beautiful. I was thinking to make it with a zipper, so that would look really beautiful. This one, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anyone who likes this pattern. I'm not being mean, I'm just like honest. I don't know, I just find this piece not smartly built. It is completely controversial against each other's functions. And let's see the amount of projects. So it was published on 2021 of May, and the amount of projects is of course extremely low. It is 189 projects from 2021, which is very, very low in almost 5 years. So if you think that this pattern still deserves to be knitted, please, I want to hear your thoughts. Let's take a look at the cloud team. I love the cloud sweater, cloud blouse, gorgeous, gorgeous design. That's why they're also really popular. I would like to knit myself a cloud sweater, just like super cozy, just like a blanket feels on your body, I imagine. But the cloud tee, when I saw it, I personally was like, what is this? Well, let's begin with what I don't like about it. Firstly, the neckline. The neckline in the cloud blouse and in the cloud sweater is a bit more rounded. Or maybe it looks like that because it has a bit more positive ease. The cloud tee though has way less positive ease, and that's why maybe the neck is stretching to the sides. And that creates not like a round neck, but more like oval shaped neck. And it just doesn't look beautiful to me. I think either in this t-shirt you should not have this roll up from the stockinette, or maybe she needed to make effort into making a really beautiful rounded, more rounded neck. That would be really beautiful because neck in this design is the main feature of the t-shirt and that pops on your eyes. Maybe it's the plant yarn, probably it is, maybe it's the less positive ease, or altogether, I don't like it. And the second issue that bothers me quite a lot in this t-shirt is the sleeves. So if I look at the t-shirt, there are two things that bother me quite a lot. First, there are more stitches for the sleeves than there should be. So we see this little puff from the sleeve where it begins here at the top. That's because there are more stitches than they should be. And the second issue is the amount of short rows. So if we look at the t-shirt, okay, let's start with the fact that we actually need short rows here at the sleeve cap to make sure the sleeves don't point to the side and then accumulate the fabric here under arm, but they gradually, fall on your hand and they create a beautiful shape. In this case, I think she did use short rows because I do see some slope, but when she's wearing it, it just doesn't look beautiful because the fabric is still pulled upwards and there's still some fabric is accumulated under the arm. I just think that you either have to not do short rows, like the designs that actually feature the sleeves pointing to the sides, and that is designed like that. I think Ozetta likes this type of designs, and okay, in this case you understand that it was designed like that. In this case, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not enough short rows to make it beautiful, and it's not standing like that. A t-shirt that I would compare it with is the t-shirt from PetiteKnit. I forgot the name of it, but I'll just show you how perfectly the short rows are shaped in the arm, in the sleeve, and how beautifully just falls down the shoulder slope. And I do suggest that t-shirt instead of this one. Unfortunately, I do like the cloud series. They're really beautiful. The next worst pattern I think is from PetiteKnit is contrast sweater that was released in 2018, and there's two reasons for that. The first one is the design. I don't like the colorful stripe in the bottom, like it doesn't correlate to anything. It looks like you just didn't have enough yarn and you just had to use something else. But if it's a scrap yarn project, then it should be some correlation among design features. I don't know, maybe make more stripes, or maybe neckline of the same color as the bottom, or maybe, I don't know, anything, but not this. I really don't understand this design idea. The second thing that really bothers me in this construction is the neckline that is designed to be kind of rounded, but again, it like pulls to the sides and just looks like a boat. but it's not a boat and it's not a rounded neckline. And also there's not enough depth of the neck in my opinion, so it looks like it's choking the person a little bit. It's knit with mohair as well, and I imagine that is not really nice when something is constantly pulling you here a little bit in the front. And the truth about this contiguous saddle shoulder construction, that if you want to make a deep neck, you're going to also have wide shoulders, because every time you make this turn to, you know, shape the neck, you're also making increases for the shoulders. And in this case, if you want a deeper, nicer neck, you have to knit two saddles separately. The example to that would be Comfort Pullover by Celine Phaeton. I don't know if this design is out yet or it is about to be out, but there she knitted these two parts separately, two saddles separately, and then you somehow join them at the back, and you do have a very beautiful depth both at the back and in the front. In her case, obviously, it's a V-neck, but you can also make it nicely with a rounded neck. There are many more beautiful saddle shoulder constructions, and one of them is Olena Sedalkina, the god of saddle shoulder. I speak a lot about her in my videos, and if you want to know more about her and my admiration of her head, of her brain, you can watch my videos about men's knitting patterns, very recent video, just check it on my channel. I speak a lot about her and about her designs and a lot of saddle shoulders. It's going to be quite interesting to hear if you haven't. The next one is Ballon Jacket. It is also released in 2018. The reason why I don't like it, the first feature that actually breaks my eyes, is the bottom band. It is very much cinching in, pulling up the whole fabric upwards. I don't understand why it was not the issue when Meta was creating it. I think it's really visible that it has to be either thicker or just more stitches or anything to fix that issue. I really don't like when it happens, and I constantly try to prevent it. Maybe I'm just broken and a lot of people actually appreciate it and they use it as a design feature and on purpose, you know, pull their garment upwards. But I just don't like it. The second thing about this design I think is a failure is the yarn weight. So it's quite thick. It is knit on 6mm needles. Of course, I understand that not a lot of people are willing to put a lot of effort into knitting bottom-up piece in very tiny needles, but the gather stitch that is used in this design is already voluminous enough to provide that cozy feeling. And if you're knitting it with a huge worsted or aran weight yarn, it is going to be heavy and it is going to keep stretching down because the weight is going to pull it. And garter stitch is very likely to be stretched with time and wear. So if I would be doing this design, I would for sure pick way thinner needles, maybe 3.5, and maybe some very lightweight super blown yarn to compensate that weight of the jacket. And even from the pictures you can see how heavy it is on the body. In protection to that, I have to say that the seam for the cardigan is right here at the top. It's a protection for this cardigan, because if the seam would be at the back, just like a zipper jacket, the first option, that would be even a more huge disaster, because then it would be constantly falling off the shoulder. Here is still good because you need it bottom up until the armholes, and then you need front panels separately, you need the back panels separately, and then you seam them up here, which is quite good, I have to say, because when you seam up the shoulder, it is going to be more durable and less likely to stretch with time. And here you also need the sleeves separately. I don't know if it's top down or bottom up, and then you seam them up together, which is also nice because it kind of creates a strength. But with all of these positive things, I still think this design has a lot of complications, just the ones that I mentioned. Otherwise, I actually like the idea of such cardigan because it does feel like a blanket on top of you, and I would for sure use it at home. I would knit in it, I would like get cozy on my couch and just enjoy it if those issues would be solved. Anyways, let's move to the last one, the fifth design that I don't quite like from Mette, from PetiteKnit. It is Fortune Sweater. There is something really off about this design. First, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I don't like it. But I was thinking, what don't I like? It is like, there is this beautiful clover motif. It is mohair, which I like. It is raglan that I don't always, but I still like it. And I also needed the Cumulus Blouse that is also raglan. I was thinking, what I don't like about this design? And then I realized that it's just the conflict of styles. and the conflict of format of the sweater. So you have the short sleeves and you have double knit mohair, which is not functional at all because you can't wear mohair when it's already hot enough to be short sleeved. I know that you're going to sweat, at least I'm going to sweat, and it's not warm enough when it's already cold and you're of course wearing your jacket, or maybe you don't wear but you want your hands to be covered. Like I always pull my Cumulus blouse to my wrists if it's a little bit cold. And I just don't see how you're gonna wear it. Maybe it is appropriate for Copenhagen, the place where she lives, or Denmark. Of course, you can always make your sleeves longer. It's not going to be a big deal. But there's something else that bothers me, and that is the conflict of styles of the whole sweater. So basically, the format of the sweater is like a sweatshirt because it's a raglan with high, slightly rounded neck. But this clover motif reminds me a little bit of lace, and it feels very feminine, very lightweight, very slow and beautiful, you know, all of these feelings. And their place in this quite sporty, relaxed t-shirt. And actually the sleeves are also balloon style. I just don't like it. And let's see how many projects we have. So since 2019, we have 681 projects, which is not the smallest, not like Zipper jacket, but not the biggest, obviously. She has way more beautiful patterns that got way more attention and execution. Anyways, that was it on the worst knitting patterns from PetiteKnit. To be honest, I don't like to be that person who complains or criticizes someone, but in this case, I was not criticizing the wonderful woman PetiteKnit or Mette. I was criticizing the designs that were not really nice ones, as for my opinion. So I hope it was interesting for you, that you got entertained, that you just also had your insights on PetiteKnit's patterns. Maybe you want to share with me your list of worst and best patterns. Maybe pick one best and one worst in your opinion and drop a comment. I would be really happy to see. Let me know if you don't agree with me. I would be really curious to see your thoughts on best and worst patterns. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy your cold weather knits, and I'm hoping to see you soon in my next video.